Welcome to the Profits in Pajamas podcast. I'm Danielle D, or Coach Danni D, and I help women to create luxury brands by creating processes and tightening their branding. This is where we talk about how to build your business in a way that allows you to work with ease and enjoy your life. My happy space is spending as much time as humanly possible in my pajamas, and I want to help others to find their happy space while still running profitable businesses. So get comfortable and let's dig in. Hello and welcome to the Profits in Pajamas podcast. I am your host, Coach Danni D, and I am always here trying to help small business owners find that space of work with ease. You can have a successful business, or in our guest case, successful businesses, and still be, able to live your life, enjoy your life, and have that balance in your life. So I'm very excited about this episode because I feel like this topic is so important and it's one that we miss. It's one that I feel like if we were focusing more on, you don't realize how much that actually does help you work with ease. So I have Lacy Davillier here. I'm going to let her, tell you about her journey and her story, but she's with Davillier Photography and Graphics in New Orleans. And she is a serial entrepreneur. So she has a few businesses going. But what she's going to talk to us about today is how to have captivating visuals that are going to help build your brand. And anything that you do to build your brand is doing a lot of the work for you so that you're not having to work as hard to gain the trust of your clients. So Lacy, I want you to, tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us about how you came to the world of photography.
Okay, well, I'm Lacy. I'm from New Orleans, born and bred. I went to elementary, high school, all of that here in New Orleans. And then I went to NYU for college. My sophomore year, Hurricane Katrina hit. Anyone who is a New Orleanian remembers that as a horrible, horrible day and time for all of us. It was pretty much at that point, though, that I decided that the major that I was in that I didn't really care about, it was time to drop it and to get into something that I actually wanted to do, which at the time I thought was going to be studio art with a concentration in acrylic painting. Well, at NYU, part of your curriculum is that you have to take all different disciplines. So a photography class is a requirement in your first year of art school. I've always loved taking photos. I was the kid making photo albums when I was younger. The first gift I can ever remember asking for was a Polaroid camera. But when I got to NYU and I got into that program, that was the first time that I took pictures, developed pictures, and realized that it could be something other than a hobby. So that was in 2005. I changed my concentration to photo, and I have literally never looked back. Graduated in 2008 during economic free fall. For any of us who were running businesses back then, it was a little rough out here. But in addition to that, upon graduating, because the economy was so bad, and that was when we first started to realize that people were retiring a lot later and things of that nature, there were no jobs, especially not in a creative field. Like, you could forget it. If I wanted to work for someone else, I would not have been working in my field. So I wound up after, really tell you the truth, what happened was I applied for a job that I was, in fact, I knew that I was overqualified for, but I needed to start working. So I applied and I didn't get the job. And it was probably the third job that I didn't get. And every time it was either that I was overqualified or that although I had school experience, I didn't have work experience. I basically got tired of feeling like I was being penalized for going to a 4-year institution. And I decided that instead of trying to get someone else's job, that I would create my own. And supportive family who really jumped in and helped me out with everything. That was in 2008. that we kind of started it, but we incorporated in 2009. So we made 13 years this past August. It's hard to believe it's been that long, but that's kind
Wow,
of,
congratulations.
thank you. And of course, at 13, we opened up a studio in Houston. So now we are one studio in two cities. We're in New Orleans and in Houston.
Amazing, amazing. That is an amazing journey.
Yes.
Um, and I really want to touch on you hinted at it for a second, but the support of your
Mhm.
family. And I had the honor of meeting some of your family members at a networking event. And I mean, hands down, like absolutely Team Lacy all the way.
Yeah,
And
they're amazing.
because it's important. A lot of people, will say, oh, well, this person doesn't support me, that person doesn't support me. And, sometimes it's your family, sometimes it may be somebody outside your family, but it's important to build that community of
Yeah.
supportive people as entrepreneurs because, especially in the beginning,
Oh, yeah.
it's not easy.
It's not. And it is, even when it comes to your spouse, when it comes to your friends, the people you surround yourself with, they don't have to all be entrepreneurs themselves, but they have to be willing to understand that your life is going to look different. I started my business when I was 22 years old. Most of my friends were not doing anything like that. They might just be beginning their careers. They might have been like, in an entry level position. My life looked different. I worked more. I had to bring work home. I was strategizing while also working. And the friends that I left with were the ones who were willing to understand it. They weren't necessarily entrepreneurs themselves, but they understood that although we're 22, 23, 24, Lacy's not going to be out until 3 o'clock in the morning on a Wednesday because she has an 8 a.m. meeting on Thursday. And I don't get to call in sick. I never
Right.
got to do that. So call in sick equals don't work, don't eat. So,
Right.
and
But
especially when you're first starting. Yeah. So if you
it's
don't have that, yeah.
no, it's so important. And I think that we just expect it, but you kind of have to build that relationship with people and that understanding. And you have to, keep quality people around you.
Right.
Because, I mean, there's some friends that you can have a whole lot of fun with, but I went on a retreat and we talked about fun friends versus funds friends.
Exactly.
And it's not always the same, but I just didn't want to gloss over that because I know a lot of
Yeah.
times we don't think about that community and how important that
Oh, and
community
you need it.
is.
You absolutely, I mean, and then as far as like support goes, again, how supportive is somebody going to be, right? Like it's one thing to say I support you. It's another thing to jump in when I'm in the trenches. So
Right.
that's where like my family, that's the kind of family I have. If we're in the trenches, if we need help, I have family that's going to jump in. And because that's a big thing, right? There are going to be, you can't, there's this unhealthy moniker, especially in the Black community, in my opinion, of the Black superwoman.
Oh,
That doesn't
Jesus.
really exist. It's not a real thing.
Jesus.
And I don't subscribe to it. I believe you can have everything. You can have a family, you can have a business, you can have all of that. You are not an island. Doing it by yourself is not going to do anything but cause you stress, troubles, ulcers, and everything else that comes with that because Superman, Superwoman is not real. It's not a real thing.
Right.
And we push that forward like, oh, I can do everything. No, no, no. That's where the support of your peers come in. And if people are around you that aren't supporting you, what's the purpose? Because any relationship is going to take a certain amount from you, right? Are the deposits and the withdrawals at least somewhat equal? Becomes the question.
Right. And I love that you touched on that whole superwoman thing. That is one of the things. I mean, that's pretty much the point of this, podcast and everything that I do is to try to unravel that.
Right.
That it is not realistic.
It's not.
And I've donned the cape before. It
Mm-hmm.
ain't
We all
fun.
have.
It ain't fun.
It's not. I've gone to work with an ulcer because I have to work. I have to do this. I have to do that. So I wasn't an ulcer. It was like one step before, but it was very painful. And
Right.
instead of just saying, "Hey, look, I need to reschedule this because I can barely walk,"
Right.
it was this thought that you have to do it.
No, I remember I was working when I was in college, and I remember I sprained my ankle to the point that I couldn't walk on it. And I went to the ER that night. I was sitting in the ER thinking, I hope they write a note for my work. And that's when I realized I needed to quit my job.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I was like, this is absolutely toxic. Like, I should not be in the ER at all concerned about this. Like,
yeah, wondering if they're gonna write a note. Like, but that's, and I mean, like, what's that saying? I read it on Instagram recently. It's like, please note, if you die, your job posting will go in the newspaper before your obituary.
I literally watched it happen.
Yeah. It happens
I
all the
had
time.
a coworker die at the job, and
Mhm.
their replacement was there within 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So,
And so it's that matter of, you kind of, that it's when you think about that and put things into perspective, it's understanding, like, don't let your job kill you, because if it does, the only thing that's going to happen is they're going to find somebody else to do your job.
right.
And that, but that's for everybody, right? Like we say
Right. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it
right.
is. You know, time keeps on moving.
Yep.
So there's nothing that's worth, you know, killing yourself over. And the more you do this, the more you are. You may not feel like that's true, but like you said, you were one step before an ulcer.
Yep.
Before I quit my last job, I had went to my husband's healthcare fair.
Mm-hmm.
They took my blood pressure. The nurse that took my blood pressure asked me on the spot, when is your next doctor's appointment? It happened to be that following Tuesday. And she said, can I call you after your doctor's appointment? Because your blood pressure is concerning to me.
Mm-hmm.
And she literally called me
Mm-hmm.
to make sure I was okay. Again, that same Tuesday, I quit
Right.
my job. So,
Right.
but you know, that's not our topic, but it was important. I
Oh
didn't
yeah.
want to just leave that without touching on it.
Can't gloss over it.
And
No.
I hope somebody heard something they needed to hear there. Let
Yeah.
it go.
Even if
And
you are the boss, like as an entrepreneur, right? Like people will drive you insane if you let them.
right.
And I know we're gonna dive into that a little bit later, but yeah, like you're one person, you're a finite resource, and there is only so much that you can do and only so many hours in a day.
Correct. And you have to set those boundaries.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
don't feel like, you know, I'm not being a good, you know, business person, or the customers are raised right, or whatever that looks like. You set your boundaries. And I always say that no is the best form of customer service,
Yes. Because
because
sometimes it's no.
sometimes the answer is no. And when you let someone back you into a corner that you don't need to be in, it's going to end badly. It always
Yeah.
ends badly.
Always.
So save yourself the headache up front. And when you mean no, say no. And set those boundaries of, you know, even, you know, sometimes we get enticed by, oh my goodness, all these people, or I got all these inquiries. I could scoop all of this, you know, income. Sometimes the answer is still no. Sometimes, you know, you have to know what is booked in my business.
Right. Right.
What is that number?
It
Decide that
also
ahead of time.
becomes, it also becomes that matter of breaking up with busy, right? Like, are you actually fulfilled? Are you doing what you need to do? Or are you just busy? And
Right.
that becomes a question.
And you know, I have the graphic tee is, you know, it's a line through booked and busy, and it's paid and well rested.
Yes.
Booked and busy is a death sentence. I'm
It is.
just putting it out there. It really is.
Yes.
And then booked and busy does not mean paid.
No, and I was about to say that booked and busy never says how much money is actually in your account. Like there's also other harmful thoughts out there that, oh, if you're an entrepreneur, you have to work 18 hours a day or you're not working hard enough. Oh, or like what they tell women, right? Like, do you want a man who's making money or do you want a man who has time? I'm like, a lie that has been told to the poor by the wealthy for centuries is that in order to have money, you're not allowed to have time. You have to be working yourself into the grave. But let's talk about it, right? Like the top 1%, they're not working themselves into the grave. You're doing it for them.
They on a yacht somewhere right now.
Exactly. So that is a myth that has been debunked a million times, but we all hear it, right? Like, no, there is it because what's the purpose? To
Right.
amass wealth, to amass clients and never be able to enjoy it. What's the purpose?
Right. And
Because
then
you
a lot of
can't.
times you're not getting the profit that you need to be
Correct.
getting to be successful. You're just basically working yourself for no reason. Like,
Correct.
it really doesn't make sense. And that's like you are speaking my love language. That's my whole philosophy. And I know just personally from my own business, when I shifted my thought process,
Mm-hmm.
shifted my pricing, shifted my scheduling, shifted, those things in my business is far more profitable and I have to put in far less work.
Yeah. That's the dream at the end of the day, is to have enough processes and systems set. And I can't say I'm there yet. I'm not perfect. I'm
Oh
getting there.
no, we look, we are all a work in progress.
Exactly. But having enough systems in place, having the right people in place so that you are able to actually have it all, that's the goal. It's not being stressed out with a lot of money in the bank, nor is it being stressed out with no money in the bank.
Right.
Nor none of that is the goal. The goal is fulfillment at the end of the
Right.
day. And whatever that looks like for you.
Right. Yeah, I call it your success story. Like, what is your success story? What does it look like? Now let's work towards that. Like, what are the things we're
Right.
going to do to work towards that? And how are
Yeah,
we going to make that a reality?
exactly.
And it's not, that whole work hard and be successful.
No.
The janitor is working really, really hard every day. I promise you. But that's not necessarily going to get you to your success story. You
No.
have to you have to be strategic about how to get there and how to get there and get all the parts and pieces you want, not just like you said, the bank account.
Yep.
I mean, so then you're gonna just die with a big number in a bank and what?
And I don't think people think about that. Like, especially as entrepreneurs, like even when you talk about what's your succession plan? What's your end game? Because if the answer is to die working and they have to pry this business out of my cold dead hands, that ain't it. It shouldn't be. But
No.
people don't think about it. They don't think about the fact that one day you're not going to want to do this anymore.
Right.
Are the systems, or you won't be able to. You know what I mean? Like, I look at a job like mine, right? Photographer by trade, serial entrepreneur. I own the business. I'm not always the photographer. Why? Photography is very physical. By my late 20s, I realized that there would come a day where being on my feet for 12 hours a day was no longer plausible. So what did I need to do? I needed to clone me. I needed to find it to where we might still have those 12 hours of photography going per day, but I wasn't the only person doing it. And a lot of people don't get to that step because it's like, oh, but it's me. And if I don't do it, no, no, no. That goes back.
Mm-mm.
No super woman, no super photographer, no super nothing. There would come a day, and it's true. I
Yeah.
have friends in my industry who have had to have surgeries, all kinds of stuff, because being on your feet for 8 to 12 hours a day, running around, diving, carrying equipment, it's taxing on your body. And if you are literally the only person who can do it, and you are also the only person running the business, and you are the only person doing the editing, and you are the only person getting the clients, you're going to hit a ceiling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. And a lot of the audience are balloon artists like myself. And when you before you mentioned about the physical part, I was ready to jump in with that because
Yeah.
it's only so long you can, viably do this, the
Yeah.
lift and the bend and, all of this. I mean, even now, like if I'm working on something, if my son walks past, baby, get down there and get,
Get that
get
for me.
this for me.
Yep.
Because, it's only so much you can do. And you really do have to be realistic about that and how you build your team, how
Yep.
you plan for the future. And like you said, an exit plan, like, you know, I don't plan on doing this for the rest of my days.
Right.
You know, like, what is your exit plan? And I'm gonna just throw this out here, and it might step on some people's toes. Your child might not want your business.
They probably won't. It's not even just a might not. It's that they probably won't. You have to let your children be who they are. They are not extensions of you. Putting guilt out there so that that child feels badly if they don't take your business is no good. But I'll do you one better if they do want it. What does that mean? Are you going to give it to them for free so that there's no skin in the game? You care as much about your business as you do because of the skin you have in the game. You're going to hand that child that business, and what? Do they know how to run it? Do they know how to deal with your customers? Or are they going to take what you have worked for the past 25 years and run it into the ground because they were given a company that they had no idea how to run?
Right.
Or they were not quite clear on why the company was successful, right? Like, let's say mine, for example. Let's say I give my business to somebody and they come in and decide, well, we're just going to cut costs by cutting this, that, and the third. Well, a large reason that we're successful is because we're accessible, right? A big complaint that a lot of clients have about photographers is I couldn't get in touch with them. They didn't communicate with me. They got me stuff 4.5 weeks late, all this kind of stuff. You cut costs, you cut all the stuff that makes
Right.
that what makes us successful. So it's not just a matter of, oh yeah, one day I'm gonna be in my 50s or 60s and I'm gonna just give this to my child. Are you training that child?
Right.
Child care to do it. Has the child ever seen the inner workings of what it means to own a business? Because let's keep it real. We can make this look very glamorous, right? Like, you can be on Instagram on your vacation. Your kids probably think your job is cool because everybody else has to request off, but my mama goes where she wants to go when she wants to go. But do they see you working at 9 o'clock at night 2 days before you leave?
Right.
You have to choose this. Owning a business, it's owning any business. Being an entrepreneur, you have to choose it because it's not an easy road. And I'll always say, I didn't necessarily know exactly what I was getting into when I got into it. And a lot of people don't. There's no way to know what something's going to be until you're in it. But you got to want it. If you don't want it enough, you will not succeed at this, period.
Yes. And one thing you said was, like, how do they know what the inner workings of the business is? And something that I run into a lot is the business owner doesn't know what the inner workings of the business is. You know, everything is in your head. What is documented? What processes and procedures do you have in place so that, you know, we don't even have to go to the extreme of you like giving the business over. What happens if you go into the hospital tomorrow?
These are things that are so key. Listen, I did, it's going to be a quick plug. I'm not going to call it shameless because it's not my business, but
that's okay.
I did the Delgado 10,000 Small Businesses program, and it's one of the best things I've ever done in my life. I recommend it to anybody. Now, let me be clear, it's hard. Because if you're like me, when I went to school full time, I was not working full time. I'm blessed. I had a family that helped me out while I was in college. This was going to school while working full time in a very accelerated, very condensed program. But that is one of the things that they harp on, because let me tell you what, as entrepreneurs, a lot of stuff lives here, especially when we first start out. I have a list of if I knew then what I know now. And one of them is I would have started putting things on paper a lot earlier, because now I can get sick. But it took a long time for that to happen. When I first hired my now primary photographer, she was set to start working in January of 2021. Okay, great. You'll come in. I'll train you in person. I'll do this, that, and the third. What happens? I get COVID. I also have asthma. So COVID for me, I was down for a month.
Wow.
I basically had to wake up during the day, send her samples of other stuff I had taken. Praise the Lord. She was a great photographer already. So she was able to take that and run with it. But what if I hadn't been able to do that? The company would have had to shut down because she would have been out there head first, not knowing what she was trying to do because it wasn't anywhere. Because my master plan was to train her in person until I couldn't.
Right.
So, like you said, if you get sick, what happens? Like, I mean, I remember if you had talked to me pre-pandemic, We didn't even have a CRM, y'all. You email us in Google, we email you back, we go look for, that's how we were living. Now, life can go on because everything is in one place. If somebody needs to take over my job for a while, they can, but that's also key because what if you're not sick? What if you just want to go on vacation? Because like that's not right. Prioritize rest. I went to Montreal this past year with my husband for our anniversary, and I only had to work really one day that I was there. And why? Because there's enough processes in place for this company to run when I'm not here. Because again, that goes back to what we said before. If you can't enjoy the fruits of your labor, what's the point? You're going to end up burnt out and hating every day.
That part. And, and I'm a big proponent of CRM and automations and all of those things that you can put in place. But again, I didn't always have that. And I remember I was doing a lot of this stuff manually and somebody introduced me to a CRM system. And I was like, wait, what? I could have this thing and it can do, oh, okay. Game changer. And I shifted my energy. I started really, focusing on that automation. Yep. And a lot of people, are fearful of that automation because they think it's going to take away from your customer experience. I'm telling you, every single time I service a corporate client, the one thing that each one says, I loved how easy it was to work with you, and I love how well you communicated through the process.
That is one of the top compliments that we get as well. I was going to say that people think it's going to take, now it's certain stuff, right? Like, don't just have auto emails going out, not paying attention. Like if I have auto appointment reminders and the person has already scheduled an appointment, that's when you kind of start to look bad, right?
Right.
You have to put in that, oops, my bad, didn't mean to send that to you. I see that you actually scheduled an appointment, so that they know you're still a human.
Right.
But for the most part, automation upgrades the client experience because it helps things to get done in a more streamlined fashion.
Correct. And it becomes foolproof.
Yeah.
Because, I can't count on my memory to do it all.
Right.
You're going to be in trouble.
Right.
Right. And, and sometimes you will have, certain clients get a little hesitant about entering stuff in the system. And we know how to massage that, but I need you to go this route because this route makes everything better for all of us. Because when somebody's outside of my system, I can feel it because that's when I get the, oh, wait, when are y'all coming? Are we scheduled? Are we that? But see, in my automation, you get reminders, you get this, you get that, and And so, go ahead.
You get reminders, and it's also like, what's been done and what hasn't, right? Like what happens if, for example, we're closed on Sunday, Monday, right? And we're Saturday by appointment. What if you and I have been talking about a project in the CRM or on Google? This is the difference. And you decide on Sunday that you want to move forward. Well, by the time I look at those emails on Tuesday, your email is way at the bottom somewhere. Whereas the CRM is going to prioritize it and send you what you need to finish booking. You can finish everything without me having to interact with it. Because what happens if that doesn't happen, right? On Tuesday, I finally look at it. I might make it to your email and I might not. So now this project is supposed to occur on Friday, and you didn't even get an invoice or anything until Wednesday.
Right.
Being automated.
Right.
So now we're in a rough patch. You think you have an appointment because you said yes. I don't think you have an appointment because I haven't received a contract or a deposit.
Correct. And it's a total game changer. I could go on for like hours about, how much that game changer is. And, we still haven't even gotten to Lacy's topic. So we're gonna switch gears to that topic. Yes. But everything that was said before right now is just important in general as an entrepreneur. And, I'm going to throw a shameless plug. If any of that is something that you're struggling with, you can always reach out, and Coach Danni D can help you get yourself in order and get that time back. But a big part of that automation, a big part of that process is your visuals. And I know for me, I'm a very visual person. I'm in a visual industry.
Yep.
When you see visuals that you connect with, you are already connected to that brand before you even talk to that person. And so we can't keep sleeping on
Oops, you're frozen.
visuals. Oh, am I back?
Up, yep, you're back now.
Okay. We can't keep sleeping on visuals.
No.
We act like it's an afterthought, or we're like, oh, you got pictures and they're blurry and your thumb's in the way, and
All of that.
or you just not really grasping the fundamentals of photography, like uh, everything is not going to be the best picture is going to be just stand right in front of it and take a picture.
No.
Let's just put that out there. Let's just be real.
Oh, it's not.
It's not. And so, Lacy, I want you to, what is the most important thing that you would want to share with people when it comes to their visual, their brand photography, that you would want them to know, that would be game changing for them?
I got it. This is my soapbox. This is it's my preachable moment. I've been preaching this for years. Get you a content bank. I don't care what you do for a living, because here's the thing. And first, let me say what a content bank is. A content bank is you have worked with a brand photographer and or video person, and you have put together a bank of content based on what you're putting out. So that could be, I always say to do it quarterly, assess it quarterly. So it could be, let's say we're in the final quarter of the year. I know in the final quarter of the year is October, November, December. In the beginning of October, I know that I need my campaign for Black Friday. I know I need to send out holiday cards. I know I need to have these posts. I know I'm going to celebrate this social media holiday. I know my mama's birthday is on December the 1st. Whatever you're going to put out, there should be certain categories that you work in, right? So like for me, if you go to my personal Instagram account, you're going to see things about me as a mother, wife, friend, sister. I'm big on relationships. You're going to see things about wine. As you know, my side hustle, my wine business, but also I'm a wine lover. And then you're going to see things about photography, and you're going to see things about exercise and health. Those are my pillars right there. That's what you're going to see. If you're going to look at Lacy, you're going to see those things, right? So now I'm going to take those and I'm going to say, what does that mean for the months of October through December? And that's where you start building that content bank. A content bank is not pay somebody $300 to take a whole bunch of pictures of you in the same outfit in City Park and post them over and over again and hope that you can find something to go with them. That is not it. Now, here's why I say to get a content bank. There are times, and Coach Danny, I know you're going to back me up on this. There are times when you are in it, right? I'm posting every day or every other day. Yeah, I got my reels going. I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm over here. I'm over there. I'm winning. And then there's the opposite side of that coin. There are times when you messed something up, which now has you behind on several clients. You don't even have time to post a sentence on social media, much less to have a full-on plan where you got to sit there, take a reel, do this, do that. You do not have the time, right? Both of those things are valid and both of them happen. Your content bank is not necessarily for when you're at your best. It's for when you're not. It's for when you need to just go and pull something that goes with your brand to keep people engaged. It's for when you thought you were going to have all the time in the world to get your Black Friday campaign together, but then your mom got sick. It's for, but you can still get something out and still get those sales. That's what it's for. I say when it comes to your visuals, plan, 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 and plan again, and plan in advance. I would say, like, one of the worst things that we consistently have to do is tell people you're not going to have that in time for when you think you need it, right? We go, go, go. That's our society, right? You don't think about your Black Friday campaign until, oh my God, it's November the 10th. And I don't know. Oh yeah, I was planning on putting this on sale, but I don't have anything to go with it. Let me be clear with y'all. Today is November the 10th. If you come to Davillier's and you need something for a Black Friday campaign, the rush fee that you are about to pay is probably going to end up being more than the session itself. Why? Because one of the things I've learned in business is that I love my clients, but I cannot let your lack of planning become my emergency. I can't do it. If I have to put something else on the side, if my people have to work late and this, that, and the third to get this out for you, somebody's got to pay for that. It's going to be you. But if we had done this in early October, you would have gotten it at the right price. Like, for example, product photography for us starts at $35 per item. That's going to get you the item shot. It's going to get you one edited image of it. And of course, it goes up from there. There's also bulk rates. Now, if you need to add a rush fee onto that, those rush fees start at $75. Start at. So that's the biggest thing that I would say. Get a content bank and plan. Plan for the days when you're not going to have time, because that day is going to come. People tell me all the time how great I am with keeping up with my Instagram. And they're like, oh my gosh, Lacy, how do you do it? I'm like, I do it when I can. And when I can't, there's a bank of stuff for me to just put out there so that you don't forget that I exist. That's how. So that, I guess, like, I don't know if that was really what you were asking, but
no, it definitely, that was actually, I mean, that was a huge gem, you guys. Like, that was a huge gem about creating that content bank, because I mean, you're 100% right. You're not always going to be on. It's just unrealistic. And the planning ahead so that you can be prepared, because most of my audience are creatives, so we are dealing with clients, and clients have the same expectations, and we have to understand, when you are listening, my coach will always say, I want you to listen to me as a student, but I also want you to listen to me as a coach.
Right.
Because, listen to Lacy, what she's saying of if you want to work with her, but you also have to take the flip side and put your business owner hat on and say, you know what? I need to implement that in my business as well. Yep. Because you can't let somebody else's emergency become your inconvenience. And if somebody's going to inconvenience you, they need to pay for it, because otherwise you're teaching them that their inconvenience to you is acceptable and that your time is not valuable.
That's what you're teaching them. You're teaching them that your time is not as valuable as their time. And here's the thing. I want anybody who disagrees with me to hit me up on Instagram, email me, text me, whatever you need to do. Name for me the person who you let inconvenience you for free who didn't come back and do it a second time. Don't worry, I'll wait, because you won't be able to.
Because you won't, because
they're going to keep coming back until the day that you finally tax them for what they are doing.
They are teaching you.
Yep.
They are teaching, you're teaching them how to treat you. You've taught them that is acceptable. And the bigger part of that is now you not only, inconvenienced yourself in the business, you've inconvenienced yourself in life, because the reason why you weren't available has not changed.
And then also 9 times out of 10, they're not going to have the best experience with you.
Oh, no.
Going to go wrong. Something's going to be late, all because you didn't stick to your guns in the first place. I think one of the best things I've read recently is it was like put out to recovering people pleasers, which, let me tell everybody out there, I might sound like I have it together. I am a recovering people pleaser. I am.
Is there a support group or?
Right? Like where Lacy? Hello, my name is. Because I am the person that used to be on Christmas Eve trying to work myself to death to get your holiday cards out because you didn't get them on time. I used to be that person. But what would happen, lo and behold, again, no superwoman, I don't print Christmas cards. So after I did all of this, rushed them, you still got them late because the print lab was backed up because they told people what their print deadlines were.
Right.
So now you still didn't get your holiday cards out on time. And who are you blaming for that? You're not blaming yourself because you were late. You're not blaming the print lab because they didn't get them to you. You are blaming me. The person that inconvenienced myself for free is who you're blaming. Like now, I tell you what, we have our rush fees on things, right? And we say, all right, this is what it costs to rush it. Now, here's the thing. You may not want to pay that. You can tell me when you want it. And we tell people, we're so honest about it these days. We're going to do our best to make that happen for you, but our turnaround time is this.
Right.
If you need me to guarantee that, you have to pay a rush fee. If you are not paying the rush fee, I will do my best, but I can't promise it.
Right.
And people still, I kid you not, will choose not to pay the rush fee and then be blowing you up. Oh, but I needed it by this date. And in the email, it stated that
right. This was the stipulation.
We would do our best, but we couldn't guarantee it. Here is where we are. It's about honesty, and it's about teaching people how you want to be treated. Anybody who knows me will tell you, I am not a last minute person. I don't like last minute plans. I don't like things that are unplanned. I don't like monkey wrenches. I don't like anything that you could consider being the thing that's going to throw me off of my game. That's just not for me. All right. I am straight up type A. My days are planned out. They are planned out for proficiency. I ain't going to be able to do it for you. So the shift that happened for me was the day that I realized my calendar is mine. My life belongs, of course, to the Lord, but on this realm, it belongs to me. You don't get to control my life, my calendar, what I do, none of it. So now where I am with my team, we're talking about how to get ahead. What do you prioritize on a Wednesday? You're not prioritizing Thursday on Wednesday. You should have been prioritizing Thursday on Monday. On a Wednesday, I'm prioritizing Saturday. We have 5 appointments. 3 of them are outside. It looks like it's going to storm. Start reaching out to these people. You have until 2 days before to decide to reschedule. Oh, well, what if? There is no what if, because I have to be able to shift around this schedule. What do you want to do? You can keep it there with the possibility of shooting inside, or you have until this date to reschedule it. After that, it is in stone, and you can either do it indoors or you can forfeit your session fee. It sounds rude, but it's not. Like no one can live like that, right? Like, let's say I thought that I had 7 appointments on Saturday, so I have Malika and Caroline on staff, right? Let's say on Friday, I find out that 4 of those people are canceling. Well, now Malik or Caroline is not making the money that they thought that they were going to be making. And now the studio's not making the money that we thought that we were going to be making. And to add insult to injury, I have to actually put all these people on another day. So now I have another day full of people that's not going to make me any money, because that's money that we already made. That's money that was supposed to be finished up with this week. Right. So understanding that, that's the other thing I would say, that's a business advice. Put a fee on it. You don't want to do it, put, as my coach says, I don't want to do this fee on it. Yes. You want to reschedule at the last minute, there's a reschedule fee of this much money. Why? Well, I already paid for it. Yes, but you paid for time on this day. And if I have to give you time in 3 weeks instead, that's time I can't give to somebody else.
No, it's to me, it's the inconvenience fee.
Yep.
Just how, they say it's a convenience fee. It's a convenience fee for you. It's an inconvenience for me. Absolutely. So that's what it comes down to. And 100%. Like you said, some of it can sound rough or abrupt, to people when they're hearing it. But ultimately, again, no is the best form of customer service. I can operate in my optimal mode when I have systems and processes in place, because process brings clarity. Yep. Everybody knows what's happening, when it's happening, how it's happening. Now, of course, in the industries that we are in, there is that room for flexibility, but we still have to put boundaries on that. We're not trying to, stick it to a client. We want the client to have a wonderful experience. But if we're operating in chaos, how can we create that wonderful experience?
And it takes people, it took me years to figure that out, right? Like when I am at my best, I'm pleasant. People love me. I'm a great problem solver. When I am operating in chaos and overwhelm, I can't think my way out of a wet paper bag, and I am no good to anybody. So at the end of the day, boundaries are something that you are worthy of. We are all worthy of our boundaries. And there's something that, in fact, makes us better for the people that we're trying to service.
That.
If, again, like, because also maybe you don't catch the end of that, but maybe I put my procedures to the side and let your poor planning become my emergency. Well, now client number 2, who actually did plan and has been on the calendar for however long, they're getting the shaft because I've had to give all of this to you. And
Correct.
that's not fair to them.
Correct. And I mean, and I'll go one step further for you. I know a lot of people may, think that this is absolutely crazy, but I've gotten to the point where I work with people I enjoy.
Yeah.
And there's some people, I had an experience recently where, and I will blame myself for not listening to myself, because just the way that the person worded the inquiry said to me that you think that, again, your lack of planning is my emergency. Now we're trying to book this, call us back ASAP. Huh? ASAP? What we doing? Like,
Yep.
we haven't even exchanged hellos yet, and you already
And you're already rushing me.
You rushing me. And I'm a Capricorn. I'm stubborn. You know, it don't come out much, but
And here's my thing, girl.
you tell me to do something in that way, it
Gonna
comes
come
out.
out.
It
I'll do
comes
you
out.
one better. I'm a Pisces. I float between the flowers, but there is an ASAP cost. And something tells me that you don't want to pay it.
That part. That part. But it just,
If I had to bet on it, I would bet on
that part.
I want the ASAP cost.
And something told me not to just say we weren't available, but I didn't respond ASAP because, the Capricorn in me. But when I did respond, it was, I'm trying to have this conversation, and the conversation got a little nasty.
Right.
On their part. And I kept it professional because I am professional, but at the end of the day, the answer is no, because I have to stand for my reputation as a business. I have to make sure that I am showing up for all of my lovely, fun, amazing clients as the best version of myself. And if me interacting with you or, servicing you is going to take away from that, then the answer is going to always be no.
No. And I say this as well. Yeah. Well, because we're not the most expensive photographers, but we are certainly not the least expensive, nowhere near it, right? So if you have paid me your money and you have put your trust in my company and in my name to get something done for you, I owe you that, right?
Yes.
So I'm not going to shortchange these people over here who've been rocking with us, who made the investment. I'm not going to shortchange them for your poor planning. I keep saying it, but that's where it's at.
No, it's both poor planning and poor behavior. So I'm not rewarding that. I'm not going to reward that. And I know that I have these wonderful, amazing people that I could be spending my time with. Mm-hmm. So we have to learn that, because we have to preserve our energy, and we have to operate in both our zone of genius, but in our mindset of genius.
Yeah.
And if somebody's pulling you out of that, it's not worth it.
It's not.
It's absolutely not worth it.
I mean, like, we have had contracts that seems like I remember, let me say this. My first 2 years in business, I got my first ever contracts at a school. It was a tiny school. I built a yearbook from scratch with no yearbook software or anything. And as they kept being like, oh, but can we get this person in? Anybody out there who knows anything about InDesign knows that just getting this person in is not a pretty situation. in the end, after everything that we did for them, they were unhappy, unsatisfied. And my mother said this to me: sometimes you have to let things go. Not all money is good money.
And that's right.
And it doesn't get any realer than that. If it's money that has you stressed out, if when you walk away from it, all you can say is, I didn't get paid enough to feel like this. If it's keeping you from something else that brings you joy, all money is not good money.
Yes.
Like I said, if I take on a project that I know is going to be high stress, and in our industries, both of ours, you're going to have those. You're going to get the person whose balloon artist canceled on them 2 days before, and now they know they need somebody, and they're willing to pay the ASAP price because they know I'm down to the wire.
Right.
But the ASAP price has to include what it means for you mentally.
Correct.
To get yourself into a space where, you know what I'm looking for the word for? Where you don't feel taken advantage of. Right?
And that's it. And that's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
And I've been in so many situations where I'm just like, I feel like I left this situation like all my life I had to fight. Like,
Right.
like, and it's like I was doing this person a favor. Like, that's how I felt. Like, I went into this situation, I extended myself to this person, and for some reason they are angry, and I am not understanding why. And
how did we get here?
How did we get here? And the last time that happened to me, I can remember it vividly. The last time it happened, and this person asked me to do something for them. It was last minute, under my minimum, and I had another event that day.
Yeah.
The only reason that I agreed to do it was because the location that it was being held referred me. It's the only reason that I took it. And it wasn't far from where the next job was. This lady calls me after I delivered, and goes off. And this is, post me coming to a place of peace and joy in my life where I don't deal with a lot of drama. So it was like really abrasive, for me, because it was just like, whoa, we don't even.
Right.
I'm in the field of happiness and joy. What?
Right.
Right.
Why are you Satan? Why are you trying to steal my joy on this day?
Right. So she is going, and and I just finally said, ma'am, I said, all I can do for you at this point is offer you a full refund. So that means you got the balloon, you got your money back. I'm thinking you cool, right?
No, never.
That lady said, I said, ma'am, I'm on my way to another appointment. As soon as I get back, I'll have your refund issued to you. Well, you better. What?
Because you already got the product. So me offering you a refund is a courtesy.
Right. So but you still got all that bass in your voice. And I'm like, and I know there have been times I've had experiences with a vendor and it didn't go well, but if they made it right, then I'm cool. We didn't, I'm not going to carry it to my grave. We're going to move on. So I took a deep breath. I got off the phone. This is why I remember this, not just because how crazy it was, but I go to the next job, and it was a person that had a 2-day event. So they had something on the first day. I'm going to set up for the second day. I didn't meet them on the first day. I just dropped off. The second day, they're there. So I walk in, I set up for this lady. And when I walked in, she said, it was for a family reunion. She says, I don't know. She says, I don't know if you're a hugger. And she walks up and she gives me the biggest, deepest hug.
Mm-hmm. So sweet.
And the way I needed that hug in that moment.
Yeah.
And this lady didn't know that from, she didn't know what happened before. But that contrast of those two things happening together.
Yep.
was the tipping point for me to say, I'm never going to do that again.
No.
I am never going. So I'm, and I ended up maybe like about 5 minutes late, but that's late for me. I don't do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, same.
So, and this lady didn't care at all, but I'm infringing upon this lovely lady
To be treated like
because you crazy as all get out.
to be treated like trash. At the
Right.
end of the day, and to be treated like trash for not enough money. And if I have to offer you a refund in the end for no money, no.
Right. So I hope that that's also a wake up call for some of y'all listening. Just stop doing it.
Yep.
You don't have to be battered, abused, and all this stuff by people to do business. And I'm so deep into that happy space with me and my clients that, that's when, because a lot of times, especially in what we do, you sometimes you lose the passion for it.
Yeah. And you lose it based on that. It's rare that
Right.
you lose it because you just lost it. I have a dear friend who we started our business at the same time. I'm not gonna call her out because we know a lot of the same people. So some may be listening here. She decided to completely switch her business model to doing something else for a long time there. And when I asked her why, she was like, I never stopped loving what I was doing. I stopped having to convince other people that I stopped loving having to sell it, having to convince other people that what I had worked all this time to become the best at was worth them paying a premium for. I got tired of being undercut by people who didn't really know what they were doing or people who were doing it as a side hustle. That's what I got tired of. And I will be honest, in my career, that's what I get tired of. I don't get tired of what we do of our great clients. I get tired of people who feel like if they spend money with you, they can talk to you any kind of way.
Woohoo.
And people, which that could be a whole nother podcast.
Oh, Jesus. Did I tell you I'm a Capricorn and I'm stubborn?
Listen,
that be the breaking point right there where I'm just sitting up there like.
And the thing with me, anyone will tell you, I'm a person of peace. I've lived a real milquetoast life. Again, I am, if you look up Pisces, I'm next to it in the dictionary, like everything about us. But if you ever really want to see me, in the words of my mother and father, come up out of my bag, that's how you get me there. Talk to me any kind of way. That is what I do not put up with.
That's like the shutdown. It's like the shutdown moment.
That's the, I don't know who you thought you were talking to like that, but we can either reset or we can end this conversation because there is no possible way that you meant to talk to me like that.
Right. I pay attention to how people treat people.
Exactly.
And that's a big turnoff for me, is that if if I notice that, you treat people a certain way based on, whatever the thing is that you think, when I do business with you, now I'm a really laid back person. I mean, I got a podcast in my pajamas. Like, I'm really, really laid back person. I don't feel like, there's some people that feel like they got to constantly be, flexing on you. I don't feel like that. I feel like, you meet people more genuinely when you're just hanging, you just lay back, but don't make that side come out. Like, it shouldn't matter.
Don't you do it.
It shouldn't matter. But again, that is that shutdown moment for me because we've misunderstood the nature of our relationship.
Yep.
I'm a vendor and I'm providing a service.
Yep.
You don't own me. You don't own my business. You don't own how I run my business. So,
and I in fact didn't ask you for your opinion on any of those things.
Look, I had someone recently tell me you could do it that way, and I was like,
ask.
I really, And then the or was like the most hooked up, like unprofessional. We don't operate in that way. If you're looking for someone to meet those needs, then we're not the company for you because my reputation goes beyond your event.
Right.
And so I'm not going to lower my reputation to accommodate something that I don't do as a business. So
Right.
we have to be able to just say that and just say no.
Right.
I don't offer that service, or I'm not willing to do that, or
Yep.
this is how we operate. You have to be willing to stand in that and not feel like that's being mean or cruel or
Oh
anything.
no.
That's being respectful to you and your business and your longevity, because
Yep.
no one client is worth your business's reputation.
Exactly. And it's also being respectful to what you worked for, right? Like we offer event photography in my studio. I don't shoot events. I haven't shot an event in over 5 years. Um, I have had people say, "Oh, I want y'all to shoot the event, but I want it to be you." And again, some people might take it as I think I'm too much or whatever, but I'm not shooting your event because I hate them. We offer them because a lot of our clients who book other stuff and who are wonderful, I'm not going to make you go find another photographer for this. I'd rather be able to keep it in the family. However, you will not see me at your Saturday night event because I hate them. I have children. I have things that I want to do on a Saturday night that is not picking up a camera. And quite frankly, I've paid my dues there. I have.
And also, you just have to look at back to the zone of genius. People operate best when they're in their zone of genius.
And I am not,
And
I'm going to say that I'm not a night person. You, in fact, don't want to see me after 6 p.m. You don't. It's not me sitting down having a glass of wine. You don't want to see me. I'm not at my best because by then I'm a morning person. So by then I've gotten up at 6 a.m. I've exercised. I've done all these things because I am productive in the morning and during the day. And so now you're getting, I mean, the day got the best of me, fam. You're getting the rest of me at
right.
this
And see,
Saturday
I'm
night
the
event.
opposite. I'm the opposite. I am a night person.
Yeah.
I can do morning, but we're not gonna do no every morning.
Right.
But I understand what you mean, because when I do a morning event, I'm like, how do y'all do this? Because I'm up in the morning and then I'm sitting around and I'm like, well, Jesus, it must be time. And I look up and it's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm like, well, how much more day is there? Like, how do you?
Yeah.
I'm
And
like,
well, that's the thing. You only have so much gas in your tank. And if that tank, if you start running that car at 6 a.m., you ain't gonna be running it no more by 9 p.m. You're empty. You
mm-mm.
got that 2 o'clock feeling at 1 o'clock, and you try
Right.
to push through it. But by 6 o'clock,
No, it's over. It's all said and done. And then
it's over. And so, and then other than that, I'll tell you what, we don't shoot weddings anymore. And people think that's insane, right? Like a photographer in New Orleans that doesn't shoot weddings. Why? I'm gonna let you guess. I hate them. And at the end of the day, if somebody gets sick or something like that, and not only me, Caroline doesn't shoot them. She's the main photographer. Malik doesn't mind them. But let's say we put Malik on 5 weddings. Let's say Malik breaks his right pointer finger, which is the one that you click with. Either me or Caroline now has to take over that wedding, and I don't want to. And here's the kicker though. I didn't stop shooting them just because we didn't want to shoot them. I also stopped shooting them because when you don't want to do something, that comes across. I would
yes,
rather give that business to a friend of mine in the industry who loves doing it because they are going to do a fabulous job at your wedding. They're going to do a better job than I ever could because they want to be there. That's
because
what they
they're
want to do.
enjoying it.
They're enjoying it.
You have to put
They're in a place of passion and joy, whereas I would be there in a place of I have to do this.
creativity, in my opinion, requires a certain amount of happiness and joy.
Right.
You are not going to create your best work in an environment that you don't want to be in, or doing a thing you don't want to do. There's certain things that I just don't do. They're very popular,
Mm-hmm.
and I
Yeah,
don't do them.
exactly. Same. Like we offer, like anybody, shameless plug. If you're on my list, you're gonna get an email. We're offering the only mini sessions that we're gonna offer all year on November the 20th. There are people who build entire businesses offering them. They're popular. Not us. I offer them every now and again, and it's only for very certain things.
And like you said, weddings. I only do weddings through an event planner.
Mm-hmm. No, as you should. As you should. Let me say
And
this.
9 times out of
Why do you
10,
say that? We say we don't shoot them. We will shoot weddings in two situations. One is it's a tiny wedding, an elopement, a second marriage, something like that, where it's just tiny. It's like a micro wedding. The second situation is that, because the other thing that gets tiring about weddings is that if they don't have a wedding planner, if you are one of the top vendors, aka a photographer, something like that, you
go
end up
ahead and say it. Right.
like, what do you mean you don't have? So now, okay, so I've made a shot list. So now I got to tell you when you're going to do. No, this is not my job. It's not my
Mm-mm.
job.
I don't want to play. I don't want to play.
It's not my
Like,
job.
no, like,
I, in fact,
and
hate event planning, which is why I don't do it. So
no, I have no desire
I
to
have
do that.
no
Like,
desire.
people keep trying to like push me in that direction because I'm very organized, but I
Yep.
don't want to do that. Like, just because you can do something does not mean that you should do it. And we
That
need to
part.
we definitely need to take that in as business owners. There are so many things that I can do. I have many, many, many talents. You
Oh,
will
yeah.
not see any of those things on a menu anywhere
Mm-mm.
to
The
purchase
thing some
because I
people,
don't want to.
and or like certain stuff, for example, I love cooking. I love baking. You will never catch me being like, I'm offering suppers or anything because I don't want it to become work. I like doing it for my family, for my friends. And there are certain things, and this is a word for somebody out there, take it if you need it. There are certain things that you should just keep as an enjoyable activity.
That
Don't let
part.
these people on the internet tell you that everything you're good at should become a business, should become a stream of income. That is not true, because the moment something becomes work, a certain amount of enjoyment comes out of it. And also, you can love doing something, but you might not love it as a job. I love cooking for my friends and family, but at the end of the day, you know what I don't love? Food safety commissions. I don't love regulations. I don't love dietary preferences and restrictions. I don't love having 4 different sinks. I wouldn't love any of that. So therefore, as much as I might love cooking and making things for my friends and family, I would not love being a food service provider. Don't think
So
because you like something, you should make it into a business, because it's not
so
the case.
I got two things on that. One, all my friends, family, former clients from when I used to bake. If you want to know why I don't bake anymore, rewind this little part just that Lacy just said. Rewind that part exactly. Run it straight through.
Yeah.
It I like the creativity of it, but as a business, it is stressful.
It sucks the
And
joy out of it.
it I did not like it anymore. And that's why it is gone. And y'all can keep asking, but it's not coming back.
Not coming back.
So that was one thing that I wanted to touch on. But the other thing that I wanted to touch on, because this just been on my heart for a minute, because you were saying about the internet telling people about, basically monetizing everything that you're talented at. The streams of income thing. I just want to be clear about this. Streams of income mean that each one independently is successful.
I got some on that too.
Stop picking up 45 different things if not nary a single one of them has ever crossed you over into 5-6 figures. Like, if you got $400 in 12 different ventures,
It
I'm gonna
ain't
need
work.
you to go sit down, work on one,
Build it up,
build it up,
and then
let
come
it
back.
become successful, put it in a position where it can run itself, and then pick up another thing. Because all you're doing is making yourself tired and you broke.
And so that, the streams of income, and also, what's the saying? It should be 7 streams of income. You know what it doesn't say? 7 jobs. Several of those streams of income are supposed to be passive. And what we as entrepreneurs don't understand is a passive income. What is something that you can buy into that you don't have to work? That's an income stream, right? You will kill yourself trying to have 7 jobs, own 7 businesses. No, 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 my friend. That's not what it means.
At
Like you
all.
said, and not everything is going to be successful. I'm not even going to hate on you if you want to pick up the 40 different habits. But when you realize that this ain't working, be willing to let it go. Don't keep
Oh
beating that
yeah, yeah. No,
horse.
I'm not
You
saying
picked
don't
it up
try
quick,
it.
let it go as quick as you picked it up.
But
Because it
but
ain't
look,
working.
if every 15 minutes is something different,
Yeah,
we don't we tired for you. We
that's
tired
like
for you.
I rolled up on a truck one time. Girl, the truck said it had a vehicle wrap. It said, I don't want to lie to you. I think it said lawn service, party bus, DJ, and photographer. Houseway.
Just all of them.
All and it didn't match. Like it was several careers that had nothing to do with one another. Or my accountant had the best one. He was out somewhere in Louisiana and saw a place that was like Bob's Fried Chicken. We do taxes too. The question becomes which one is not good, the chicken or the taxes? Because one of them isn't being done
Like
well.
separate church and state, friend. Like we just first of all, they
Chicken,
should not be being branded together. Let's be clear. So if
even if
you
it's in the
gonna
same
have
space.
if you gonna have 40 different things, I'm gonna need you to have 40 different pages for them. Okay, we just gonna keep them separate unless they are some kind of way related. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I mean, maybe the party bus and the DJ, maybe they could work together, but the lawn guy got to go. He have to be
That's got to be on another vehicle wrap.
right. He got to be his own person. Like,
Because, like, what am
because
I
I'm
doing? Am I calling
confused.
you like, hey, I got a party coming up. I need a bus and a DJ. And by the way, can you come and cut my grass? Because the next day we're going to do a brunch at the house. No.
It's just too much. And
And
you
what it
have to
does is it makes
be
people think you're a jack of all trades and a master of none. It
that
doesn't
part.
look good. That's
That
another
part.
thing. If I had to give advice to entrepreneurs, specialize.
That
And not
part.
saying you can only do one thing, but you can't do everything.
You can't do everything and you can't don't stop mixing everything together. Like some people don't like their food to touch. You know, like
Right.
let's just think about it like that. Like,
Yeah.
you know, you are creating a message to your audience. How can the same message reach the people that need their grass cut and the people that need their taxes done?
Right.
Like that don't it's not going to resonate. So even if you're doing those multiple things, I mean, I have two businesses, I know you have multiple businesses, it we got to be thoughtful about how we're putting this stuff out there and thoughtful about, like you said, is we have to be able to make an assessment. Is this working?
Yeah. And an honest assessment and not an emotional one. When you
Right.
get into a business because it's something that you love, sometimes the emotion keeps you going longer than you should go.
Right. And I mean, and I guess the thing too is like you said before about you loving to cook for your family and friends. If it's something that you love, keep it that.
Yeah.
If you're not willing to put the part in to be a business owner. Cause that's the part everybody don't want to work on. That's the part I gotta struggle with people. I gotta tussle with you about is putting the business structure in place. If
Oh
you don't
yeah.
want to do that, then let it stay a hobby. Let it stay an
Yeah.
interest. Because right now you're making it a business and you're taking on all the liability of being a business, but you're operating it like a hobby. And odds are you're not making the money that you need to be making from it because you're not doing the business portion of it. So
Yep.
basically, you're doing a whole lot of work for nothing.
You can ask anyone on my staff. We've signed a whole lot of school contracts this year, right? And for a while there, we had gotten very behind. And because of that, I was having to jump in and shoot or jump in admin. The month of September, we came in $30,000 below goal. How did that happen? With all these new contracts, it happened because no one was concentrating on the business. Nobody was selling. Nobody was looking at those numbers. We were just in a space of overwhelm trying to make it work. And it was working for everybody except us.
Right.
So we had to slow it down. We're going to have to revamp a couple of things for next year because, of course, we want our clients to be happy. So, like something very simple. We've always offered pre orders, right? Well, now people want to see their photos before they order them, by and large. Does that mean that nobody wants to order it sight unseen? It doesn't. But if the vast majority of our clients want this, why are we double working? Let's put them
Right.
up online, let people see them and order them then. You can still pre-order sight unseen with an order form. You can turn in cash, you can turn in a check. But the online system is going to kick
Correct.
in when we've already taken pictures. And that's going to take a lot of work off of our plate. But again, like you said, that's the part, even when you start to think about as you scale, what am I great at and what can I give to somebody else? I'm going to say this and it's going to sound conceited, but it's not. I'm a great photographer. I am. I'm very good at being a photographer. I am also great at running a business. Most artists are not great at running businesses. So when I had to decide that something, I had to bring somebody else in for something, I brought somebody else in to help with the photography. Because now I have people who are organized, we're able to shoot more things, and I can concentrate on making sure that this business is making money. And again, that's a skill, that's a blessing, because most people who are artists are not business people.
Oh, Jesus.
And in that case, I tell people all the time, they're like, well, would you advise that I hire another photographer? No, I advise that you stick with what you're very good at.
Right.
If you love shooting and shooting is your thing, but you hate the back end, you hate running the business, then no, I'm going to advise that you partner with somebody and get you a managing partner to actually run this business so that you don't have to run it.
Right.
Which space are you the most fruitful in?
Correct.
And then also for me, I knew that if I concentrate more on running the business, that's great, we'll be making more money. I can still step into the ring and take photos. I'm going to have clients who are willing to pay the premium that it costs to actually work with me. And I can always pick up my camera.
Yeah.
But I'm a control freak. If I don't like the way that said managing partner is running my business, I'm going to constantly be stepping back into it. So knowing my personality type, I had to concentrate on running.
And yeah, and then I think that that's just very important. Just to know in general, knowing yourself. That's one of the first things I work on with clients is what is it that you actually want? What is it that you desire? A lot of times we don't realize and we don't know. And you need to know yourself. You need to know yourself. You need to know. I will tell people, even before I started coaching, if you ask me, I like balloons. I love business.
Yeah. And I think that's it. And I'll do you one better. I love photography as an art form. If I can be out in somebody's desert with a medium format film camera, and then you can catch me in the dark room manipulating, that is my happy place. However, if we're talking about photography to sell, commercial photography, I like photography. I love business. If we're talking about my art practice, which I'm in the middle of revamping with the encouragement of my wonderful husband, who says that I need to start making art again, I love it. I mean, Caroline and I, my master photographer, she just bought a Mamiya, which is a big deal in the photo community. Somebody out there knows what that is. And we just cannot wait, because when we go on vacation from DPG, you know what we're going to do? We're going to go run around and play with the film camera. That's what we're going to do, because we love it.
Right.
But I have to be succeeding at business to love it.
Right.
If I'm broke, busted, and disgusted, I don't love anything.
Look. That ain't fun.
It's not fun. And I can't have fun because I got bills.
No,
Bill
it's not. It's not fun.
You never asked for, but he will never leave you, Bill.
But yeah, you have to know what part of it is your jam. And if it's not your jam, then like you said, you get that support for that, and like I work with clients to help them get that business part together.
Yep.
So that they can get back to the part that they love.
Yep.
And the beautiful thing is, for everybody is going to be different. For some of my clients, it was getting their systems in place so that they can go back to touching balloons.
Yep.
One of my favorite clients, she said, man, I realized in this process, I love working on the business. She's like, I'm about to hire somebody to start inflating balloons for me.
And sometimes you realize that, like,
and that may be the thing.
I love marketing. So my job, if you will, at the company that I own, my major job is marketing. I'm the one that makes sure that there's clients that keep coming in, because that's what I love and that's what I'm good at. I love talking to people. I love finding solutions for people. So I found somebody else who loves shooting as much as I love that.
And that's the thing. And even, one, building a team.
Mm-hmm.
Two, even if you are rocking solo, what are the professionals that you have on your team? Because your team doesn't have to necessarily be on payroll.
Right.
Who are the professionals that you have on your team that handle those things? And, I encourage you guys to go back and listen to, this and every other episode where we've had a guest on. They all have come from different industries, but they all are professionals that can help you to move your brand forward.
Yep.
And so they may not be on your payroll. You may not be in a position for that right now, but that doesn't mean that you can't utilize them to get you to that next level. Because the one thing I think that people sleep on is you need to level up and you need to invest to that level.
Mm-hmm.
Not the level that you're at, because you're already there.
Yeah. Yeah.
You need to invest to the next level. So if right now, you're building your social media presence and your website and all these different things, and, the last guest talked about all of that. But one of the things that she mentioned was you need quality graphics.
Right.
You need
Correct.
quality imagery. So you got somebody working on this state-of-the-art website for you, or you're trying to build, because I'm a luxury brand coach, so I'm helping people to build luxury brands.
Yep.
You trying to build a luxury brand and you got this picture that looked like it came from 1992.
Right.
What?
No.
We're at an impasse.
And that's the thing. And people are going to notice it. Like, let me say, marketing has gotten harder. Visuals have gotten harder because people have access to gorgeous visuals, gorgeous photos all the time. And now they know what they're looking at, right? There was a time when you could get away with something and fudge it. We're out of that time. It makes you look like you don't have your stuff together.
Right.
Yeah.
And it especially, I hear so many of, my clients and potential clients talking about they want to cross over into corporate markets and this, that, and the other. And sometimes the person that you're talking to, I know has happened to me multiple times. Sometimes the person that you're talking to that is trying to book you is the branding person for that company.
Yeah. 100%. And honestly, if you're talking corporate, that's who you should be talking to. The CEO doesn't know us. Again, when you talk about learning how to delegate in order to grow your business, the high level CEO doesn't know what's going on in the marketing department and in the branding department. That's not his job or her job or their job. Excuse me. It's not their job. That is the job of who they hire to do that. If there is a marketing coordinator, and this is from somebody who works with high level corporate clients, ask immediately, is there a marketing person that should be looped in on this conversation? Because you will spin your wheels talking to the person that you think is at the top. If it's a smaller company, the person you might need to be talking to is the secretary, the administrative assistant. Who orders the promotional products? Who is currently printing out Christmas cards on a inkjet printer? Who is that?
Right.
That's who you need to talk to. Because that's the person who's going to go to the boss and say, hey, look, I'm real tired of these ugly Christmas cards on this inkjet printer. Can we rock with these people instead? Look at what they can do.
Right. Right. But where I was going with that was, though, if that branding person is the person that was tasked with hiring you, and they looking at your stuff, and that's what they do all day long.
Yep.
How they feeling about you?
Because they know, because what they're seeing is, how on earth can I expect you to do this for me if I'm looking at your stuff and this is janky?
Right. Because I'm on this level.
Yeah.
Are you ready to play on this level?
But also on that, and again, this might be another topic for another day, that is another reason that you don't underprice yourself. because somebody who is really looking to do business, I don't know if this has ever happened to you, I'm sure it has. Have you ever inquired about a service and said to yourself, that's too cheap? There's no way.
Oh yeah.
People do that. If you've underpriced yourself and you've tried to underprice yourself because you have a secondary job or because you're afraid to ask for what you're worth, the client you actually want is probably looking at your price and saying they're not charging enough. Like the average cost for this is
They're not a player in the game.
You're charging 5. Why are you charging 5?
They're not a player in the game. So I do a luxury brand workshop where I share 3 secrets to creating a luxury brand. And that's one of the secrets.
Yeah.
One of the secrets is your low price is scaring away your high-end customer.
100. I mean, I will never forget the first time I sent out a quote for almost $30,000. But that's what they wanted and that's what it was worth.
Right. I know when I first sent out my first big invoice and I hit send with one eye closed, and in less than 5 minutes they paid that invoice like it was nothing.
Right. Correct.
Because they're used to spending money on value. And they know that if you are undercharging, then you're probably not prepared.
And that, because you can be as talented as you want to be. Like, so this particular gig was to do headshots at the Essence. And it was something that was going to require a team. It was going to require work there and work after the fact. It required a certain amount of setup. It required a certain amount of tech on the back end. Anybody who charged lower than what we were charging was missing some component of that.
Right.
Something is missing.
Right.
And those people knew that. When somebody like that, when you're talking corporate, when you're talking anybody coming to you for a big project like that, if it's real, they have researched what the average cost of this is. They've researched what it takes to do it. And if you come in at $12,000 below what it should be, I'm going to assume that you're missing something. Because you can't be giving me everything I need at this much deficit. There's no way. And we've all done it. We've all, we've
all had that job where we like, man, I should have charged twice this, 3 times this. Like, we've all had that lesson learned.
Right.
But it's just, we have to get past that mentality. I know that when I made that mindset shift, my business shifted and it's never gone back.
Oh, it doesn't. I mean, it's very, and it's with any business that you're in. You need to, you don't go to work to just show up. We are all in business at the end of the day to make money.
Right.
Don't make dollars, it don't make sense.
That part.
The day that you change your mindset to say, this is what I'm worth, this is what it costs, everything changes for you. And does it mean you're going to get every client? Absolutely not. You're in fact going to get less of them. You're going to lose more clients once you change that mindset because of the fact that you are now looking for a different client. At the end of the day, you don't want every single client. You want your client. I would rather make $3,000 on one customer, right, than have to service 10 customers at $300 a piece. That's working smarter instead of harder.
Can you please say it again, Lacy? Because I struggle with people with this.
Because it's the same amount of money, right? But I'd rather get the $3,000 from one customer who came there, understood the value of what I was offering, was ready to invest, and had their stuff together and in a row, than to have to service, I said 10 clients at $300 a piece in an unjoyful manner. Doing something I don't want to do, feeling overworked and underpaid, having people who don't really know what they want, and therefore I can never give it to them. Because that's a creative field. If you come to me for brand photography and you don't know what your brand is, I can never give you what you're looking for. I can't. But you will also be the person who expects it to cost $300 instead of $3,000.
That was so much in that one soundbite. Just so much. One, I just don't understand why it's so, I've had so many people try to tussle about this pricing. I can clearly remember I was in a group. This young lady asked, how much would you price this job? And, people gave different answers. So I told her, just based on what I'm looking at, this is what I would price it as.
Mm-hmm.
She says, thank you. She's fine. Another young lady comes in. Nobody's out here paying that for that. Okay.
That's where you're wrong.
Right. So first of all, you're wrong. And she's like, if you're charging that amount, then you probably hardly ever booked. And my response back was, my objective is not being booked. My objective is being paid.
That part.
I don't need to service 100 clients.
No.
I need to get to 100K. Like that,
right.
That's the priority.
Right.
The priority is that I'm trying to get to my ultimate goal, not that and my goal has absolutely nothing to do with the number of people.
Yeah.
I actually want that number to be as small as possible.
Exactly. I can reach, listen, if my goal is 100K and I can reach 100K with 2 clients, praise the Lord, I'm done.
Right.
I might up the goal a little bit because now I've got some more time.
Yeah, now you got some room to play, but
my goal is financial.
Look, I'm finished.
Not a number of people.
I'm finished. So yeah, so that
the only time the entrepreneur should have a number of people goal. You ready for it? Is the number of people in your pipeline, right? The number of people on your email list, the number of people that you can reach out to when you're trying to do something. That you can have a number of people goal for. Beyond that, if you don't want to pay me, don't book me.
That's it. That's it. And that's it. And then the part that you spoke of coming to someone to help you with your brand and not having your brand identity. Yeah. So, I try to bring this up every time we have a professional come on, especially on the branding side, because sometimes we have people come on financial side, but they can't help you if you don't know.
Right.
And I'm going to make a blanket statement. It may not apply to everybody, but it probably applies to most. You don't know. Well, and the reason why I say that is because when I say, because the coach in me, when you ask me a question, I'm going to ask you a question back because I can't answer you without knowing the details.
Parameters, right, the details.
So when you say, I'm struggling you're reaching my client. And then I say, well, who's your client? And then you say something generic like moms or corporate.
Everybody.
Then I'm like,
anybody.
So who specifically in corporate? Like there are millions of corporations across the, like what
and that person the busy mom who has to go to work and therefore she's willing to pay for convenience, or the mom who is a stay-at-home mom and likes to do arts and crafts and has the rich husband? What mom? Those are 2 different people.
2 totally different people.
2 different things are going to appeal to them.
2 totally different people. Because
and I can tell you that because I'm number 2. And I'm number 1. I'm the busy mom who has to go to work. What's going to appeal to me? Make it short, make it sweet. I will know whether or not I want to buy it within 30 seconds.
Right. Like get to it.
I don't need the fluff.
Get to it. I don't want to have a phone call. I don't want to talk about it. What can I click on? Where can I swipe my card?
Because if I'm coming to you 9 out of 10, I've already researched you. I tell people that all the time. If I come to you 9 times out of 10, once you get that initial email from me, I'm probably going to buy it.
Right. Because I'm a researcher. I'm definitely a researcher. Yeah. I want the person that I know is going to do the job.
Yep.
And that I don't want to have to think about it. That's why I hired the person, because I don't want to have to think about it anymore.
I don't want to think about it.
So 100%. I do the research up front, and then you're mine, I'm yours after that. Like whatever it is you need, I'm gonna give it to you because I trust you, and that's where we're going. Every time I've switched up between natural and not natural. Now I'm doing locks. Every time I get a new hairstyles, I'm like, so you understand this your head. They're like, well, what do you want to? No, friend.
No.
I picked you the person. This your head now. Like you tell me when you want to XYZ or when it's time to XYZ, and I'm gonna be like, all right, let's swipe. They're different personalities to your clients. And then your brand is different based on what you want to bring to the table. What is your claim to fame? What is the thing that makes you unique? How do you
Right.
stand out in your market? So all of those different things are going to make up your brand identity, but you can't go to somebody and say, well, I want you to take, photos of my work for my brand if they don't have an understanding of your brand, because you could be selling makeup just like the next person down the street is selling makeup, but
Yep.
your makeup brand may be built completely around being all natural and
Yep.
um you know herbs and trees and vegan and everybody else.
It's
The
a
next
different,
person might be that their makeup is trendy, pop colors and all this other stuff like that. That's two totally different photo shoots.
totally different things. And same like I always say it with skincare, believe it or not, because you may be and I have two clients who do skincare, very different clients. One is an all natural skincare brand. So when we're doing their stuff, there's leaves, there's, we're on the rocks and in the sand and in the water. The other one is completely science based. We're going to get rid of these wrinkles. So there's beakers, there's a lab looking setup, there's stuff that makes with this one, you're getting things from the earth. With this one, you're getting chemicals to get rid of them crow's feet. Two skincare brands, both marketed to Black women, marketed to two very different Black women.
And that if you didn't take anything else from, there's so many gems in here, like this episode is just gonna be like amazing, but if you didn't take anything else from the visual branding part of this, then that all of those different details just in that description that go into making this thing give a psychological message
Yep.
to the viewer. And we're in a visual society where people are on their phones, on Instagram,
All the
on
time.
websites, looking at these images, and the person that's going to win that client is the one that knows how to make every part and piece, from their visual branding to their content verbiage, all of that coming together so cohesively that it speaks to that client before you ever said boo to them. So they're already committed.
And it also, yes, they're already committed. And it's sometimes you have your brand, but then you have your sub pieces, right? Another client makes smoked meats. We've shot the smoked meats, we've shot like the barbecue look, we've shot the family look, we've shot, the tailgate. He is now doing holiday packs. So what are we in the middle of doing right now? Caroline has set up an entire holiday spread, because when someone looks at that picture, they need to be able to picture that turkey on their Thanksgiving table. His regular brand shots are not going to work for this. We're reaching out to somebody else right now. We're trying to broaden that client base. So define them, get them, figure out which ones are the ones making you the most money, and figure out how to duplicate those people 10 times over. That's business.
Yes. Yes. I'm just like, I'm in my happy space. My husband says he can tell when I'm talking to somebody about business, because he's like, your whole energy is just different.
And I feel like we're
And
supposed to be talking about photography today, and both of us just like business. So we wound up talking about
look, that's how it happens. But guess what? I'm a big believer of God puts out there what we need to put out into the universe. So it happened how it happened. I know you're not going nowhere, Lacy. So I know that we can, come back and, we can dig a little bit deeper into the visuals. But I mean, this was the course we just needed to go today, and that's where we went. And I know that there was so many gems and nuggets in there. And really just kind of, if nothing else, we got your mind working about how the visuals work into the whole equation.
yeah.
And to start thinking about it and to start, as we're ending out the year, to start making that list. I love the whole content bank. I love that so, so much, because I think we take a million pictures and we do nothing with them, or we're not being, my favorite word is strategic. We're not being strategic about how we're taking these photos. Anybody who follows me knows that I love to do a photo shoot. I do photo shoots every time I go out of the country.
Same.
I do photo shoots, for different parts of the business. But when I do them, like even when I was doing the podcast, so then I'm doing this pajama podcast. I got to do a pajama photo shoot.
Right.
And, but I also included like, different props and other things, like, so that there's stock photos of things that I can use.
Yeah.
At other times, to be able to use that for what I need it for. Be 100%. Thoughtful about that.
And well, that's the thing. That's the one nugget I'll give about photo, because I know that we got to roll soon. Plan 3 times, shoot once. The biggest part of what we offer clients is that we sit down and plan with you, because I could totally just show up at your house and take a bunch of pictures of you with balloons. That's not serving you. That's not giving you what you need. You're not going to be able to do what you need to do with it. Like you said, being intentional. I'm going to need these photos. I have these things coming up. That's why we tell people to break it up quarterly, because it's easier for you to break it into bite-sized chunks. To say, I have this coming up in the next 3 months, than to try what so many people try to do, sweet Lord, and do 1 photo shoot per year. Good luck with that. Because in January, you don't know what December is going to look like.
Right. And I think that's like, I spoke to this last week. Well, not last week. We pre-record these, y'all. So when they air, it's going to be space between them. But I spoke to this on the last interview, and, go for the grown-up experience.
Yeah.
Like, it's very easy for us to go in and say, oh, well, I need to do a photo shoot. And, let me research doing a photo shoot. And where we get hung up is we're searching based on dollars.
Dollars and other people.
You need to search based on value.
Yep.
What is the value that you're going to get in return? Because, I've experienced like, photo shoots with different people. And y'all should know this by now. I'm that person. I didn't came with the paper. I got a Pinterest board. Yeah. I got a paper of the shots that I want. I didn't already picked out my outfits and, all my props, my color schemes. I didn't did all that before I even walked in. But everybody don't do that. Let's be clear. The average consumer is gonna walk in and they just walking in just blind.
Yeah. They know they want something, but they don't quite know what.
But they don't know what. Go in with that grown experience. Hire that person that's going to give you that.
Yeah.
That, I'm a luxury brand coach, that luxury brand experience. We've said so much, but I catch those pieces in between. Lacy about to sit here with you and go through what you need. Make sure that you're prepared.
Yeah. But like you said, or go for the luxury brand experience, pay the luxury brand cost, or pay $300 and expect that that's what you're going to get.
And then you're going to pay that $300 about 4 times over, and you're still not going to have what you want.
That's my thing. Either pay for what you want or don't. But what you should never do is expect caviar on a sardine budget.
It's not going to happen. I promise you, it's not going to happen. It's just not. It is the person who's thinking in that price point is not thinking on the level that you need to level up.
Correct.
They're not They're just coming, just how you're just showing up, they just showing up too. They got a
Yep.
camera and they're showing up. So
Yep.
I want you to think about that in all the things that you invest in your business. Invest in that grown experience, because
Yep.
that's what's going to take you to the next level. And stop thinking that because you don't immediately see a return on investment on something that it's not there.
Yeah.
Your visuals matter. They absolutely matter. Like, I have
Yep.
literally had people who that was their job for a major corporation say, "Oh my God, who does your like social media?" And I'm just like, it was
Me.
it was me. But there's thought put there.
There's thought, and there's cohesion. And
Yes.
that's what makes something professional. If I
Yes.
don't know what the hell I'm going to log on to your account and see, that's what makes it unprofessional. Like, you
Right.
need
Because it's
thought
like,
and you need cohesion.
because when people see things that aren't cohesive, it makes their brain have to start thinking. And I
And
know that
that,
that may
you know,
sound silly,
oh, but
but basically it's the truth. It makes, when they see cohesive things, their brain is relaxed. They don't have to struggle. When they
yep.
see things that are not cohesive, they start thinking. And then when they start thinking, they start questioning. And when they start questioning, they're like, I don't know.
And then it becomes, I don't want to be here, right? Like, you got to think of
Right.
spending mental energy in the same way as burning calories. If I'm walking and I'm at please and I'm at leisure, that's different than if I'm running. Your
Correct.
account needs to be a walk in the park, not a
Right.
run treadmill.
Right. Like you've just gone into, a luxury store and everything is white and clean and open
Yes,
space, versus you walked into Ross's and, everybody know I can't do Ross's. Like,
I
that's
can't
like,
either. I
that's
can't.
outside of my
Like,
abilities.
outside of my lane.
I just can't. I'm like, I don't understand. It's a toaster and a bra. They're together. Why?
Why are we toasting the bra?
Right. So that's the experience that you give when you don't have that cohesion.
Correct.
So I'm gonna start wrapping up though, because me and Lacy could
Yes.
go all day and all
Yes,
night.
yes. And I
And
just looked at the time and I have a client waiting on me.
okay, so I'm gonna do real quick our wrap up questions, and then we're gonna wrap this up. Okay, so my first wrap up question is, what is your favorite pair of pajamas?
I have a pair from Victoria's Secret. It's a matching top and bottom. It's like little pants and a little button up long sleeve shirt. Super comfortable, and I can lounge in it and sleep in it. And it's polka dots. So that's my
Oh, I
favorite.
love polka dots. I got polka dots on
That's
right
it.
now. All right, so my time freedom allows me to.
Travel. Traveling and seeing the world is extremely important to me. And when I first started a business and I was broken, busted with no time, I was stuck here. And not that I don't like it here, but I like to move. My time freedom allows me to experience new cultures and new places through travel.
And I'll pack a suitcase in a
Oh,
second.
I know.
So
I saw you in Paris. I saw you in Paris.
yes. So yeah, I'm like, I'm on travel pause for a moment. So I'm in my feelings about it, but it's okay. Um what's the best advice that you could give anyone seeking the profits and pajamas lifestyle?
Don't underestimate yourself and don't count yourself out. What other people are worth, you are worth that and more. The grace you give to others, give it to yourself tenfold. Everything is not going to be a home run, but you are worth it. You deserve the life that you want. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to be fulfilled. And at the worst times in your life, if you never forget that, you can keep chasing that lifestyle.
I love it. That is beautiful. Okay, so how can people get in touch with you?
The best way, of course, is through email. I'm first name at lastname.com, Lacy at Davillier.com. If you want to get in touch with the studio in particular, that's going to be info@Davillier.com, because Rachel answers emails faster than I do. The other way, I'm always on Instagram. Hit me up in my DMs, take a look at my stories. Currently, I'm at Lacy D Davillier, but I'm really thinking about changing it to the Tipsy Photog to bring in my wine and my
I
photography.
love it. I absolutely love it. I love it. Okay, so we will have all that information in the show notes so that you guys can get in touch with Lacy. Um I know this time of year is like super busy, so you can get in touch with her for 2023.
Yes,
Um,
unless you want to pay that ASAP price that we talked about earlier, let me
right.
know.
Right. But I just want to thank you for coming on. I know we switched up the topic a little bit, but
Yes, but that's
I just
okay.
love talking to brilliant women about business. So I appreciate you being here and sharing. And I know I'm gonna have you back
Oh yeah,
next year. We're gonna have to do
definitely.
another episode. But thank you for being here, and I'm gonna let you go so you can get to your client.
Sounds
And guys, if you are looking for a photographer, of course we have Lacy's info in the bio. And if you are looking for a coach to help you get that brand together so that you're ready to work with other professionals and you already know what you're looking for so that you're not wasting time, reach out. You can go to coachdannid.com and
yep.
that'll be in the bio as well. All right, y'all have a
You.
great rest of your day and I'll see you guys next week.
Bye bye.
Thank you for listening to the Profits in Pajamas podcast. I hope you got some great tips to start working with ease. Want to stay connected? Follow me at Your Workflow on Instagram. For more information about building your luxury brand, register for my upcoming luxury brand workshop at coachdannid.com.